Brenda Houtz from CMS Energy. Hi, Brenda.
Marsha, good to finally see you and talk to you. How you doing today? How's things going?
Great. How are you?
I am doing fantastic. Thank you so much for the invitation. I'm so excited to be here.
Well, we're really excited that you're here, and it's very important that you're here, and you've brought your team, and everybody's looking forward to all of that's going on. So give us your title and what you do and how you got involved.
Yeah, exactly, right? Who's this person in front of us, right? So thanks for the introduction, Brenda Houtz. Workforce Consumers Energy, who's a subsidiary of CMS Energy. Marsha talked about them. So my title is Executive Director of Grid Management. And you're like, what? Right? Yeah, that's like a lot of things. So I am very fortunate to work with several groups. One in particular is the Meter Technology Center. Basically, you know, if you don't have meters, you don't know what kind of energy flow is going through there, right? Gas or electric, and it monitors that, and it helps us, you know, determine our revenue, and it's accuracy too, right? We want to make sure we have accurate bills to our customers. So we put out thousands of those, and we bring some back, and we also make sure they're accurate in the reads. And we do that. We purchase anything 56,000 meters, gas meters alone goes through that building. So I work with a great team there that produces that for our company. And then I also have the control rooms. Basically, we have a high voltage system, 138,000 volts. Down to your standard house voltage that we monitor and watch, and we make sure we're very proactive with a lot of IT systems, which I'm sure we'll get into those conversations here in a minute. But those folks, matter of fact, I'm in, well, not actually in the control room today. We still have COVID going on. Facility there that I'll be visiting with those folks today, but they are proactive in monitoring load and making sure that you don't have any issues. You see everything. You just hit the switch and it goes normally. But if we do have issues, they do call on our field folks to come and respond to those outages. They're very instrumental, especially during the restoration activities during the storm. I have all the support staff that support them, from training all the way down to the IT perspective, as far as the tools they use. I also have service restoration in electric. So when the storm goes and you turn back over and you pull the covers over your head, and I are pushing the covers up or putting on our pants, and we're hitting our laptops, and we're moving resources, and we're doing logistics, and we have a good time doing that. So pretty much my whole team, it certainly keeps us busy.
Well, you know, I think that's really interesting, because I always wonder why my gas bill is so big, right? So what is it that they're looking at? What's in that little box that they see to make me have to pay $300 a month in this little bitty place, right?
Yeah.
I think that's very interesting. So, and I know that's like a nitpicky kind of thing, but it's always a question I've always had. This little bitty box has all this information and can turn it into dollars.
Yeah, isn't that something? Yeah, and your gas meter is very simplistic too. It's just a diaphragm that basically opens and watches flow. It's so simple, right? And then your electric meter, we used to have electrical and mechanical meters. Now we have all digital. And
wow.
Have a dial that spins. Now it's all digital, and we can read that from where we're sitting. 1.8 million meters that we can look at just from our office. So yeah, pretty simplistic.
So that's really interesting. First of all, how did you even get into this? What were you thinking? I really want to go learn about these meters. I mean, did you grow up really curious about that, or how did you get involved?
Well, Marsha, I have to tell you, I'm a second generation utility worker. My father for American Electric Power. And, you know, I'll be honest, for this, I just knew my family grew up, comfortable. They weren't rich. And my father always told me, you'll never be rich if you go in this line of work, but you'll be comfortable. I took that from him, and I started out actually building electrical substations. I tried out for a co-op program similar to the STEM program. It was a 6-month program back then. Now I'm dating myself because I've been in this industry for 30 years.
Really? I want your makeup. I need your facial thing, if that's the case.
Looking good, huh? All right. But yeah, I actually started out at American Electric Power and spent 24 years there and started building electric substations. I've done everything. I've poured concrete. I've climbed steel. I then decided after 12 years of doing that, it was just a little cold outside. And I went into the control rooms and started working there. So I learned a lot more about the system and just continued to grow, became a supervisor in that organization. So I've been working storms for over 20 years, Marsha. But it's a real thrill. It became a career, not about making money anymore. Coming to work every day. I don't consider it work to me, and my family struggles with that. But luckily, they understood the volume that my father worked as a lineman and eventually retired as a trainer. So then I went on to become a manager at the southwest corner of the state in Michigan for another utility. And about 6 years ago, a gentleman named Ray Clavon, who was the executive director of grid management then, reached out to me and says, I got a job for you as a superintendent. You're just a person. And I'm like, I don't know. And I did come over, I spent 4 hours with him. And next thing you know, I've had my 6-year journey with Consumers Energy. And Marsha, at that time, just amazing journey. Superintendent for a year and a half with Consumers Energy in the control room in Jackson. Went on to go into the zone manager position, I had 4 headquarters in the southeast corner of the state for electric. We went in 2018, 0 reportable incidents. And over 80% of our customer commit jobs were done because of that focus on safety. So really excited there. And then about 18 months ago, Guy Packard said, Brenda, Ray Clavon, who hired me, is retiring. Would you like to do this? And I said, don't know what I'm going to do, but yeah, I want to go back to the control rooms and learn about meters. So that's kind of my journey, Marsha, to kind of help you give the perspective of who's sitting in front of us today.
See, I love that journey. And see, too often we don't take chances, right? You saw an opportunity. You didn't know anything about it. They hadn't even been on your radar for real. I mean, Daddy was cool and okay, Daddy, that sounds good, right? But that wasn't really what you were kind of doing. And it presented itself. And I think, talk to us about opportunities. And they don't always come that often.
Yeah. So I'll tell you a little story is, okay, we're just talking among friends here, right?
Yeah.
You can't let Guy Packard know this, okay? He's my boss here. He's the VP of Electric Ops. But
I think you'll see the video, though.
we'll just say this is between friends. So one thing that Guy has challenged his team is to own programs around the financial programs. And I get Marsha going to those deep dives, even though I knew I was ready, because Guy has got a great heart. He's always challenging to do one step better. And I thought, man, I just don't want to go there because I don't want to be the person that can't answer that one question, So every time I come out of there, Marsha, it was like, what, I lived. There was nothing fatal about that. And today I do deep dives just fine, by the way. There's no issue. So I'm a good guy if you do see the recording. But I think that's all about life and all these steps I've taken. There was times where I've been asked to pull together a report, or last year I just did a rate case, never did one before. And we've had some pretty good success, and we're looking forward to our outcomes of that pretty soon here from the commission. But none of it was fatal. And I think that's one thing we have to remember. I've certainly stepped in this position, not knowing certain things. I've certainly grown in the last 18 months. But everything I've done, and I've had coaching opportunities, and I've had pats on the back, Marsha, as well. But that's what makes us better, is knowing it's not going to be fatal, and we can move forward through anything, the steps we take. As long as we reach out to the teams, I was watching a little video as I was at the backstage watching, but so true, even with our virtual, we got to reach out to people and let them help us.
I think that's really important. And, one of the things that's also really important is diversity inclusion. What is the value of that? You're a woman in this position. I mean, come on now. How many women were one up on the polls and now with the meters and doing all of this incredible research? That's a big deal.
Yeah. So I started in the 90s. I'm just going to throw that out there. And I had a gentleman when I was in a substation, I was still an apprentice, actually come to me and say, why aren't you home taking care of your 3 kids? And my response was, because you would be upset that I was on welfare. Okay. So it's.
I'm going to remember that word. Right.
Yeah. So, we've all seen our issues. And, I have a partner of almost 25 years, and I'm very thankful for, Consumers has a lot of employee resource groups, in particular WIN, the Women of Energy, also PACE, which is I have a lot of passion for. Also our groups with our military folks, a group as well that represents them, and I'm not military, but my family has a lot of representation in that area, so I appreciate those ERG groups that we have. But yeah, and I want to share with you, when I first came to Consumers and I sat down in a chair, the very first day, there was more women around the table than men. And those women were not administrative assistants, and that's the environment I came from my previous career. And I realized, that Consumers they were owning what they were saying. They were moving the mark. And when you have good diversity, when you have that thought process in your team, you get more breakthrough thinking, right, Marsha? You get
That's exactly right.
Man, because you get to see things like you've never seen before. So, diversity is so important, and really appreciate Consumers' steps in that. And it's one of the reasons I continue to stay, because they recognize the whole person in me.
Well, and that's really critical. I think that the importance of women in STEM is critical, which is why this conference, one of the reasons why this conference is even here. And we can't be afraid of the unknown. We have to step out there, right?
Oh, yeah.
But for those who do not necessarily have the kind of confidence, what would you tell them?
Oh, my gosh. How are you going to help me close the gap if you don't do it? Right? How are you going to help me narrow the pay scales? How are you going to help me narrow all these things as a leader if you don't step into an uncomfortable zone? Naturally, is we do it. You know what? I still have it today, you guys. I still feel that way. But when I feel that way, I step out and I find the folks that they're my counterparts, and I go after it. I've been challenged here recently to bring some different things to the table, and I certainly didn't hold that inside. I reached out and I grabbed another individual to help me through that. So we can continue to let our internal side push us back, because that's our natural nature. But we're not going to break the barrier, and we're not going to close the gender gap. We're not going to narrow the pay gap, and secure economic security if we don't bring these things on and step into it. We're not going to bring diversity and talent into the workplace. And, if we don't do that, it doesn't bring, a good product line and good service lines to our companies. So I encourage women just to push against the uncomfortable feeling that's internal.
Now that's easier said than done sometimes, right? Right. So you're sitting in this room, right? You go to the interview and this, he's got all these, or she has all these things on the walls, and it's daunting, right? Like, really, do I really want to do this? Yeah. And especially in the STEM field, it's real difficult in some areas, and some companies are not as great as Consumers Energy, and they're not as open, and it's a little more difficult to make that push. What is it that you all are doing that creates this comfort? There's something happening within that organization that it came from the top somewhere, and somebody said, hey, this is how we're going to make it happen.
Yeah, and we could say Patty Poppy, right? She's our leader, and definitely the leaders before her started moving the mark. But it's a whole team that supports that, and all the way through the organization. Yeah, I'm Marsha. That's where it starts. It starts at the top and works its way through the organization. But just the programs that we have, the support of diversity that we're continuing to drive in our communities, to have the right balance between our communities and within our headquarters, is making a difference in that as well. And people having the openness and transparency to speak out when they're uncomfortable. And I think that's so important. When I look at my employees every day, when they bring me a problem, Marsha, I remind myself they're there to do good, right?
Yes.
We just look at people in that sense and not look at, the color of their skin or their gender or their culture, we're going to win.
Oh, that's wonderful. So now you all are hiring, right? Is there a way that we can get in touch with you? Because all this excitement, I'm coming to consumer. You know, that's Michigan. I'm right from Indiana, so I should come on back up there.
Yeah, right. Well, I'll be a little. I'm gonna do a little sheet, but I do know Consumers Energy, or you can go to cmsenergy.com. Okay, Marsha, and then when you go there on the right-hand side, there's some related fields, and it's the career site. But if you want to go to the career site directly, it is consumersenergy.com careers. You can go right to that site to look us up. We have some interesting new fields. You know, we've got everything from administrative, customer service. We have a great union workforce, both gas and electric in the field. I just adore working with them. They're so great. We've moved the mark on safety so much. We have a great engineering group, IT professionals. You know, we have corporate roles that we're trying to fill. In particular, changing my leadership a little bit too, Marsha. We are hiring some data scientists.
Okay.
You know, that's going to be a whole new world.
I love it.
Here's where we want to meet the mark. Now I'm going to have somebody coming to me as a leader saying, here's the data that says we're going to miss the mark if we don't do X. You know, but that's okay. I'm all right with it.
And I know, and you're going to be all right regardless, Brenda Houtz, because you are on it, girl. Thank you so much. I hate to even end it. We might have to come back later on. I hope you're going to be around the weekend. And if you think of something, call us up and we'll do this again. Thank you
Marsha,
so much.
Thanks.
All right.
Thanks for your time. Everybody enjoy the conference.
All right. Enjoy. Bye-bye.